My name is David Michael, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I really grew up in a broken home. Was in Madison Heights till I was about 11 years old. I'm really just searching and trying to find my way through life. I really was a big troublemaker. I got into a lot of trouble even at a young age. I think first time I even visited juvie, I was probably 11, 12 years old. Slowly but surely, I just really headed down the wrong path. I was back in juvie at age 13, stayed in there till about 15. Really just was living this broken life. I was, breaking into houses. I was stealing, robbing people, stealing guns, selling, small-time drugs and, like marijuana, things of that nature. Pretty much at that age, and, fighting, all kind of things. And I remember at one point I was literally trying to get locked up. My dad was never there to really give me that affirmation as a man, so I began seeking that attention from other things. And plus I liked to just get into trouble. Like, it was fun and exciting. Back in 2006, I was literally incarcerated for attempted murder. Now, at that time, my lifestyle really consisted of almost probably 90% crime. I had my hands on a lot of stuff by that time because I had really been institutionalized. And even my thinking process was institutionalized. I felt like I was never going to shake the system. I really didn't think I could be rehabilitated. I had a brother sell me a fake Rolex, and I was into some people some money. We were doing some transactions and things of that nature with drugs. So at that point, I took the Rolex from one of my friends for collateral. And it was almost like a sign of, hey, money's coming back. Turns out it was a fake Rolex. The guy who sold me the watch was getting belligerent, yelling. And meanwhile, this is my mama's house. And I'm like, you're going to shut up. You're going to really tone it down. And it got to the point where it was so bad, I literally was like, that's it. And all this rage and hate rose up in me. I really kind of just drug him out the house with my friend. And at that point, it got kind of really hazy because it was like a blackout situation. We just got into a scuffle outside, and I ended up just stabbing him and kind of really just gutting him in the front yard, which was just horrible. And we ended up kind of stomping him out after that. And it was really just a bad situation. So really that's what landed me in jail. And I'm just sitting there in this jail cell. And I remember thinking, David, you did it this time. There's no coming back from this. My sentence guidelines were 5 to 25 years. So really I was, again, left broken, hopeless. And this time it was in a cell, and probably for good. And I remember sitting there, in a 9x5 cell. It was 23-hour lockdown. It was max security. I remember just sitting there, and I got a hold of a Bible, and I was just sitting in the corner on the floor. I'm just reading, and I'm like, God, if you exist, if, this is real, if, any type of information of church or religion or Jesus or anything I had at that point was very, very small. So I began to crying out for truth because I didn't know what reality was anymore. My reality landed me in a jail cell. Really, I started crying out. I really started praying and reading the Bible, and was like, God, I need truth. I believe that you can tell me something. I think at some point I just was screaming at the top of my lungs and just yelling God, I need you. Could you please help me? Not help me get out the jail cell, just teach me the truth. Just tell me something. So I really got real with myself. I understood that I was a sinful person. Everything I had done was sin. It was that's all I knew. And it was so relieving. It was like this breeze of cool air that fell on me. I don't have to live like this anymore. You mean that this is a lifestyle, that I can change this, that, God can take this from me through practical application? And really that's what it did for me. So I really just dedicated my life to the Lord right then and there. I hadn't talked to my lawyer in months, hadn't talked to my family. Next day they called me for court, which was a turn of events. So it was one of the first turn of events. And I went to court, and there's my lawyer, and I think my mom and my brother, and they were I think my brother and my mom were crying, and she handed me a plea bargain for this attempted murder charge. They ended up pleading it way down to a felonious assault with a deadly weapon, which had a different max as far as time and that sort of thing. I was on the street in under a year. after, you know, a 5 to 25 year sentence, and it was completely shattered. And my heart was like just overwhelmed. I couldn't imagine how God could forgive me and say, you know, you're worth more than this, you know, and I created you to be more than this. And it rocked my whole world. I couldn't fathom, you know, and I got into church and got planted somewhere and got discipled and, you know, went all the way in. I was like, man, I am all the way in for Jesus. That's all that matters now. I'm like, God, if you just tell me, you know, what you want me to do, I'll do it, you know. And I began seeking him about music, you know, because I had, ever since, you know, a young person, I really had this music inside of me, this sound. I wrote this record called Stand Strong, and it was really one of the most pivotal points in that. And he really stamped me after that. And it was such a great response from the song. And I remember doing it at an open mic, and it just astounded everybody. And I ended up winning the open mic. And really what happened was it just turned into this snowball effect. So sooner or later I'm getting calls. And I'm like, Lord, is this you? Are you in this? You know? And sure enough, he was just like, put his hand on it. And it really just began to accelerate. It's incredible. You know, the way he can take such a wretched person and change them up, clean them up, and then put them on display for his glory. And that's all really this whole music ministry is about. Really just testifying of the greatness he's done in me, what he's doing in the world, and how people every day are getting raised up, cleaned off, dusted off, and sent out for their real purpose, you know. And it's so important that you grab life right now, right here in this moment. We're going to give you an opportunity to receive Jesus right where you are. You know, as simple as it was in the jail cell by myself, with God's hand on me and the Spirit, you know, really leading me and guiding me, drawing me to him. What did it for me was I had to get real, and I had to really look at my life and say there's got to be more. The more is Jesus, and I want to offer him to you. It's really just you and God right now where you are. And it's you getting real with the Lord. For me, it meant me just confessing like, man, God, I am wretched. Will you save me? Will you clean me? Will you mold me? Will you shape me into the person that you want me to be? Because I can't do it. You definitely need to get honed in. You need to get with a network of believers so you don't get snuffed out, so you're encouraged and you learn about the great God that we all serve. And I pray to God that I hear your testimony someday about what he's doing, because he's doing it all across the world.